What is the secret to polyglots? These people learn 4, 8, 16 languages like it's nothing. Well, when I learned Japanese, I cracked the code. And it was actually easier than I thought. Because in the past, I tried everything to learn Spanish, and I still failed. But that was the problem. I wanted a shortcut. But the secret to polyglots is not some cheap trick. They simply know how to use their time for maximum results. So in this video, I'll reveal the 7-step formula I found that gave me the best results. This works so well that when I was living in Japan, I had Japanese people tell me, "Mo Nihonjin desu ne," which basically means, yeah, you're already Japanese. So I'm going to jump right into this. And it starts easier than I think you'd expect. Step 1 is simply watch media with captions in your native language. Yes, you heard that right. Captions in your native language. Because this phase is not about learning. It's about enjoying yourself first. Because the biggest problem language learners face is simply finding content you enjoy. Because it's hard to enjoy something if you don't know what the heck is going on. So this step is to free yourself from feeling like you have to learn something from every piece of media you watch. Just enjoy. And the next step will take it up a notch. So when you find something you enjoy, watch the same content with no captions. It's a small change, and we're not really studying just yet, but it makes a big difference, and I'll tell you why. When I was learning Japanese, I watched a lot of shows. I even watched them with Japanese captions, but I still found my listening skills suffered. Why is that? Well, for me, whenever there's some text flying across the screen, I just have to read it. Even if I don't understand it, I have to read it. So I might read the caption, "I want to eat a candy apple," but I wouldn't hear the actual Japanese words. Even if the Japanese words were on the screen, I would still just try to read the captions, even if I didn't understand a thing. I was using the captions as a crutch. And that's a big mistake, because there's no captions in real life. So this step forced me to sit and listen. And every now and then, I'd hear words that I've been learning. That said, I'd still miss 99% of everything said because they were just talking way too fast. And I know I'm not the only one who's experienced this. So in the next step, we'll go even deeper and hone our listening skills. This practice is what made it easy for me to listen and understand Japanese speakers at their natural speed. So what is it? Listen and write what you hear with no captions. And it's an easy 3 steps. Step number 1, play a small clip, enough for someone to speak 1 sentence. Step number 2, pause. Write down the sounds you hear. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can replay the same clip as many times as you need until you can write down all of the sounds. Step number 3, repeat. Keep going until you finish the entire video. Or you can set a stopwatch for a half an hour, whatever you want. Only after, compare what you wrote with the real language. And I say only after because this is not about writing practice. And this is not about being correct. This is about honing your listening. So rather than comparing sentence by sentence, chunk it out. Focus on listening first, then compare. If there's only one practice you do in this entire video, do this. This will level up your listening dramatically, which will make language learning 10 times easier. Because listening is the most important skill for language learners, but it's also the most neglected. So don't skip it. That said, you shouldn't only focus on listening. There are a total of 4 core skills to learn a language: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. If you want to master a language, you have to practice all 4 skills. And this next practice, we do just that. And yes, we use the same piece of content again. At this point, you might be getting tired of the video. I get it. But think about when you were a kid and you found a movie you liked. You'd watch it over and over and over and over. You'd repeat lines and drive your parents crazy. That repetition is the key to language learning. But I will say this, if you stop enjoying the video, it's fine to move on. I didn't study from every single video I came across. I picked the videos I knew I could watch over and over. Then I went deep into that content. And if you want to go in deep to learn a piece of content as well, this next practice, well, it's something. So what you'll do is listen, read, write, and speak with captions in your target language. Now, I don't want to sugarcoat this. This practice is mentally exhausting, but it's so good. The first time I did this was with an anime called New Game. I studied the entire series, and when I was done, I watched the show again, and I couldn't believe it. It was like I understood everything. So here's what I did in 5 steps. Step number 1, listen to the phrase while reading the captions. Step number 2, look up any unknown words or any unknown grammar. Step number 3, speak the phrase aloud. Step number 4, handwrite the phrase by copying the captions. Step number 5, repeat this with the same phrase for a total of 3 times. And then you just keep on going. You either finish the entire video or you set a timer to end your study session. Now imagine doing this for an entire TV series that has a total of 2 seasons, 12 episodes per season, and about 24 minutes per episode. That's almost 10 hours worth of content. And to count up all of the study time, I'd say multiply that by 4 or 5 times. So that's like 40 to 50 hours of study time. Call me crazy, but it's effective. You cover all the 4 core skills. You listen and read. You speak aloud, then you write. This is by far the #1 practice you could do, no doubt. But you might be wondering, really? 3 times per phrase? Isn't that tedious? Well, yeah, but there is a good reason why. And here's what I found happens to me. The first time, I'm just too focused on copying that I'm not really learning anything. The second time, I actually start to pick up on the words and grammar and how they fit together. The third time, it actually starts to feel familiar. Do this enough and you pick up on a lot of the language. And I'll tell you, I only did this level of practice for like 4 or 5 series with Japanese. After that, I learned so much that I felt like I didn't have to do this anymore. That's how good this practice is. But even after I stopped this practice, there was one practice that I absolutely did not stop, and that's clip audio for review. The best way to build real fluency is through constant exposure. So instead of watching the same videos over and over, I pick out phrases and save them to review cards. And here's how I lay those out. On the front, I have the sentence in my target language. Just the sentence, no audio just yet, because I want to challenge myself to read and fully understand it with no support. Then on the back, I have the translation just to give myself a way to check if I was right. Plus, I have the audio clip attached, so I can play the audio and connect the spoken phrase to what I'm reading. This is a perfect, low-stress way to revisit everything we've learned in the past. And if you want to do this on your own, you could use a combination of ShareX and Anki if you want. That's what I did when I was learning Japanese. Or, if you're interested, you could try out a web app that I've been working on. I built a feature that allows people to clip audio directly from videos, although audio clipping is a desktop-only feature right now. Or you could save audio clips from our public database. If that sounds interesting to you, please check it out, but it's not required. As long as you have a way to review what you've studied, you'll do just fine. Now, on to the next step. Now, this one I'm only going to give a basic overview because I already made a video titled Perfect Your Accent with This Musician's Trick. So you could go there to watch that video for a more in-depth video. And this is a practice you don't need to hire a tutor for. You don't even need to find a native speaking partner. You could do this on your own. Simply put, mimic what you hear. It's the same idea as when we were kids and we copied characters on TV. As we copy, we improve. It's super simple, but it's easier said than done. It can be hard to pick up on new sounds and copy them. So if you want a deep explanation on how to do just that, you could go watch that video. I promise it's worth your time. Now, we do have one more step left, and this is the most important step of them all. So what you're going to do, with the same piece of content that you've been using throughout this entire practice, you're going to watch it one more time, and you're going to sit and enjoy it. That's it. Just sit and watch. No captions, no studying. This is the most important step because it allows you to pull back and see how far you've come. Like I said before with the anime series that I studied and studied, by the end, I was kind of wondering if it was even worth it. But then I watched it one more time and it clicked. I was shocked. It was like just a week ago, I didn't understand any of this, but now I understand more than 90% of it. It was an incredible feeling, but I do have to say, it's not like I understood 90% of the entire language. I simply understood 90% of the language that was used in that one show. But even then, that's what makes this the most important step. Many language learners get stuck feeling like they're not improving at all, when in reality, they've actually improved a lot. So you need to have these moments where you can relax and see your progress. So these are the 7 steps that allowed me to learn Japanese naturally, and I'm sure they'll help you as well. That said, I only did cover a portion of step number 6 that was all about practicing pronunciation. So if you wanted to continue on with that, you could click over there to watch that video right now.